Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26? The show where we take a variety of blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. I am your host, Captain Xavier, and to start this season we're going to look at a couple of blasters that would have fit beautifully in episodes last season, but I either didn't have them yet, or there just wasn't room in the episodes. So, we're going to fill them in now, just so they don't feel left out, and because there's not likely to be another episode that they're going to fit well in. So, our first contestant is the Dart Zone Quadro Blast. This would, of course, fit beautifully in the Revolving Revolver episode, but I didn't have it at the time. This one is on loan to me from Wallcom, and he says it's magnificent, definitely better in his opinion than the Doominator, but let's see if it can take a K26. Alright, we are in, and hopefully we're going to be able to figure out how to put this thing back together, because it's complicated. Well, good robust catch, that's a good thing. Haha, look at that. A bit of K26, exactly the right length, just sitting around on my workbench. Alright then! I need a dart. Alright, well, after many openings and closings and reopenings and reclosings, I have determined that no, the Quadroblast cannot take a K26. It will fit, but the slam fire mechanism that they used, while it looked robust, turned out to be insufficient to the task. I simply could not get it to catch. So, I'm going to put it down for a no and move on to the next contestant. Our next contestant would have fit beautifully in the Rebel AR episode. It was sent to me by a fan, and it is the Rebel Secret Shot. The Secret Shot was released in 2015 as part of the Rebel Secret and Spies subseries. It is a front pump, 4-barrel smart AR blaster that folds up into a purse-looking thing, which is actually really cool. It's surprisingly comfortable and is surprisingly powerful for its size, and is just a neat little blaster. Unfortunately, the guy who sent this to me wants it back, because I'd love to turn it into a combat med kit, painted up in, make it all white with a red cross and all of that, and then have the gun inside it and maybe some other features. But he wants this one back, so I'm going to have to get my own. But what we want to know is, can it take a K26? It's got a very short prime, but we'll see what's actually in here. Well, a quick answer on this one, no. It will not. The design is interesting. It has a very large plunger tube, but a very short draw, and the way the spring setup is designed, there is no way to get K26 into the inside the plunger rod, is how it's done on this one. It's kind of interesting. You could definitely put a heavier spring in it, but not K26. Alright, that is a no for K26, but yes for a spring upgrade. I think I shoved a Cyclone Shock spring in this thing. And the prime doesn't feel a whole lot heavier, and part of that I think is because it's such a short prime, and because it's a nice compact design, but it's definitely hitting much harder than it was before, which is neat, because this thing already had remarkably good performance. So, I'm definitely going to have to get myself one of these and do some cosmetics to it, because that will be fun. On to the next contestant. Our next contestant would have also fit into the Rebel AR episode, but I didn't have this blaster at the time. It arrived a little bit after I did that episode, and is just plain pretty, the Rebel Dauntless. The Dauntless was released in 2015 as part of the Rebel Charmed series, and I didn't even know it existed until recently. I was looking up some other stuff and saw it, and it's just pretty. It's got lots of filigree, it's got a neat design. I find it to be very comfortable, but that I largely believe that is because I have large hands. For once, that is a boon. If you had smaller hands, you'd actually be able to fit your hand up in here, and then you'd be getting pinched by the priming rod. But because of my large hands, I hold it a little bit lower, and so it actually fits. And this thing is basically a messenger, as far as I can tell. At least I'm hoping it is, because the messenger can take a K26, whereas the Lumitron, or the Luminate, couldn't. So hopefully this is more Messenger than Luminate, because I would love for this to take a K26, and then I'm going to paint it up and make it gorgeous. So, let's see which it is. First thing we discover is the plunger head does not screw off. Well, it lives up to its name because the Dauntless can, in fact, take a K26. It actually takes it easier than the Messenger does, because I did not have to Dremel out the plunger head, which surprised me. Yeah, didn't have to reinforce the catch spring, didn't have to Dremel out any of it. It takes it just fine, and I am very pleased with it. Being Smart AR, there's of course limits to how much more powerful it can get, because with enough powerful it is going to leak a little bit out of the other barrels, but not enough to be a problem. I'm so looking forward to doing cosmetic work on this. I'm going to do the teal in black. I'm going to do the barrel in gunmetal. I'm going to leave the silver. I'm going to do the handle part probably in a very deep brown, possibly maroon. And then I'm going to redo all of the filigree in copper. So it'll have, you know, copper's vaguely orange-ish. And that will be the black and orange. And I think it's going to come out beautiful. Not looking forward to this because the priming handles never want to take any kind of paint. I will try vinyl dye and hopefully it will stick. I will also clear coat the heck out of it and hopefully it won't flake off too badly. Trigger shouldn't be nearly as much of a problem. But that is going to be beautiful once it is done. I'll probably grab a second one and do a matched set to go along with my Rebel loadout that I have been planning with the Sweet Revenges, 4 Victories, a pair of these, probably a couple of Pink Crushes. It'll be a lovely loadout. I just need to get a vest that can hold them all, and it will be fantastic. So look forward to that. On to the final contestant. Our final contestant would have been perfectly suited for either the bow and arrow episode or the vintage episode, because it is the Nerf bow and arrow. The bow and arrow was released in 1991, which I believe makes it the oldest blaster that I have featured so far. It was one of the original Nerf releases. The string is, of course, completely shot at this point, but it didn't do anything anyway because it is just a direct prime and release. And we are going to commit a mighty sacrilege and find out if this thing can take a K26. Let's see if I can do it without breaking anything. Very large coarse screws. Well, another quick answer. No, definitely not. The plunger rod is definitely going to be way too thick because it's pretty much the exact same diameter as K26. I'm sure if you found the right spring, you could upgrade this thing, but oh, that one might work. Well, that was too short. The trick is that it's a really long spring. I don't think I have any springs that are quite that long. That one's close, but not good enough. Plus, it looks like the plunger head has been riveted on using plastic rivets, so there's really no way to get it off. They didn't want this thing coming apart. This thing is in beautiful condition, so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to put it back together. Alright, well, that's a no. Let's recap. If you're just tuning in, or if you just skip to the end to see the results, that was a no for the secret shot, but yes to a spring upgrade. That was a no to the Quadro shot. That was a yes for the Dauntless. And that was a no for the bow and arrow. Some of these kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting this one to be able to, but I was surprised at how big of a spring it was able to take. This one definitely surprised me. I really thought that the catch mechanism was going to work, but it just wasn't strong enough, and the design is such that there wasn't really any way for me to reinforce it. Maybe if you replaced it with metal and could get a much stronger extension spring, tension spring in there, you might be able to, but I did not have the parts necessary on hand. So, And this one didn't really surprise me. I kind of suspected it wouldn't just by looking at the plunger rod, for the same reason that the blazon bow couldn't, because it's the same design. So that one didn't really surprise me, but I'm very, very happy that this one can, and I'm looking forward to doing beautiful cosmetic things to that. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions for future episodes, go right ahead, put it in the comment section, and thank you for watching.